flight feathers, guard feathers, a bloom, fluttering frock. What does it mean? Despite Hoyo's insistence on writing an entire novel every time a new character comes out, Vivian is actually not that complicated. If you think of Vivian as Ether Bernice, you're on the right track. Her whole game plan revolves around dealing ether damage while being off-field and triggering massive disorders. You do that by filling Vivian's resource meter. Right now, you can see that it's empty. Certain actions will fill the meter with flight feathers. Those actions are Basic Attack 5, Dodge Counter, Assist Follow-Up, as well as Quick Assist. All of those mentioned give you 1 Flight Feather. You'll more commonly be using Defensive Assist, which gives 2. Chain Attack, which also gives 2. EX Special, which gives you 3. And your Ultimate, which will fill all 5 Flight Feathers. So having these flight feathers is great, but what do they actually do? Well, they only serve one purpose, which is to be converted into another resource called guard feathers. You may have noticed that all of the methods of gaining a flight feather put her into this flight mode. The game calls this fluttering frock. I'm just gonna call it flight mode. Well, that flight mode is important because while in flight mode, if you were to press basic attack, all of your flight feathers are now guard feathers. Or what you'll actually be doing, instead of pressing basic attack, you'll just swap character in flight mode, and she'll do basic attack all on her own. So, you've converted your flight feathers into guard feathers. Now what do those do? Well, if you're not a min-maxer and you don't care about specifics, it's honestly fine to think of it as you're going to deal extra damage over time on an anomaly team, because that's effectively what they do. Specifically, the way that it works is that any time any character, including Vivian herself, does an EX special, 1 guard feather will be consumed and deal some ether damage. Now that ether damage may have looked unimpressive, but if you notice the corruption meter, it's now full. That's after doing 1 EX special with Vivian and then 2 with Nekomata here. Side note, this is supposed to be Jane, but I don't have Jane, so we're just gonna pretend that Nekomata is Jane. Okay, thanks. So what you want to do with Vivian is to trigger other characters' EX specials after the enemy has some type of anomaly on them. So here, I'm going to use Vivian's EX special, swap to Jane Doe. The enemy becomes corrupted, then I'm going to use Assault and watch these damage procs. That's a lot of damage that we just saw on the field there. When an enemy has an anomaly, every time you trigger an EX special, you're going to see this pop-up of a bloom. That's going to deal an amount of damage based on the anomaly that the enemy currently has while consuming 1 guard feather. The specifics of how much damage that a bloom is going to deal are listed right here, but the simple version of it is, the more anomaly proficiency Vivian and the original dealer of the anomaly have, the more damage a bloom is going to deal. As you no doubt have guessed by now, Vivian works best on any anomaly team.
Roger.
So someone like Yanagi is a perfect fit. We get to trigger a bloom, polarity disorder, and disorders all in one go for an absolutely insane amount of damage. What's more is you'll also trigger a bloom just from dealing an anomaly with any character besides Vivian. So if you were to use Yanagi, there's a bloom and disorder, polarity disorder, there's another bloom, and you'll see that these guard feathers are being consumed every time I trigger one. If the enemy has a decent amount of corruption on them when you start, you'll see that you're going to trigger your shock, and then I'll keep swinging a little bit. There's shock, there's corruption, massive disorder, plus a bloom. Honestly, Vivian is just insane for anomaly teams. And that wraps up her basic kit. Really, she's easier to play than the game is implying. But she has a few tricks. Let's go over those now. The simplest way to maximize your 5 guard feathers is simply going to be to quick assist, EX special, and then swap. And there's 5, just like that. If you're to hold dodge during any move that's going to make you float, you'll see that she lands right back on the ground. This can be useful if you're fighting an enemy that doesn't allow you to defensive assist much and you have no resources, because it's faster than floating and then canceling it manually. That takes a lot of time. You can combine those tricks for the situation where you have no feathers and enough energy to do one EX special. You would attack, get your basic attack 5, 1 feather, EX special, float cancel, basic attack, swap off, and now you have 5 guard feathers. Note that it's also possible to hold any amount of guard feathers and flight feathers at the same time. You'll see that I currently have 5 guard feathers. Now I have 3 flight feathers from doing the EX special. I had 5 guard feathers, but because someone did an EX special, including Vivian herself, we went down to 4. In this situation, you probably want to swap off without entering flight mode, because now when I do an EX special, it'll still consume the guard feathers as normal. But if I were to do an EX special and then swap off, now it's wasting all of those flight feathers I'd already built up.
Keep your filthy hands off.
Honestly, that's it for Vivian's kit. Despite how complicated it seems, you just want to do any move that gives you these feathers, swap off, and then trigger as many EX specials and anomalies as you can. Natural partners for Vivian are going to be the likes of Piper, Grace, Bernice, Yanagi, and Jane Doe. Here, this is Jane Doe. Don't worry about it. Shh. And it's very likely that all future anomaly characters are going to be perfectly viable with her as well. And shout out to Astra Yao as a support. She can spam quick assists even without energy, as shown here, giving Vivian 1 flight feather each time. For her stats, you just want to stack as much anomaly proficiency as you can, and then your secondary stat is going to be attack. This is because you may have noticed it during the showcase. Vivian's Abloom will trigger additional damage every half second equal to 55% of her attack. Anomaly proficiency is still the most important stat, but attack is definitely your most important secondary stat. This damage can crit, so crit rate is okay too, but that is the last in the priority list. For W engines, of course, her signature is going to be the most apt. Beyond that, Weeping Gemini and Rainforest Gourmet are both perfectly fine picks. I personally believe Weeping Gemini to be the better of the two, but they're both going to serve you just fine. Her disc drives are easy. The 4-piece is going to be Phaethon's Melody, and the 2-piece is going to be Chaos Jazz or Freedom Blues, because they both have the same 2-piece effect, whichever one has the better substats for you. As mentioned, the substats are easy. Just stack as much anomaly proficiency as you can, with attack as a secondary, so a drive like this is pretty much perfect. For the disc 4 stat, you of course want anomaly proficiency. For disc 5, you want ether damage, or secondarily attack percent, which I'm using because, come on, anomaly proficiency plus 3, I can't let that pass up. And for slot 6, you of course want anomaly mastery. Side note, my disc drive rolls are terrible. I cannot tell you how excited I am to have a character whose disc drives are so simple to pull. You just need 1 stat. Finally, thank you. And honestly, that's all of her mechanics. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. I would appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.